We continue to look for some lakefront property, in the desert. Let's see if we can find it this time. We got the clan taking on the mercenaries. Today we can see a classic list coming from the clan. We've got 2 vultures, a mad cat, and a nova. We got a little 5-8 movement scheme thing going on there. And the death dealers roll on with an assortment of units. Once again, proving that the inner sphere can always take more units than a typical clan unit, as it should be. We're doing the same scenario we did in the last battle report. The objective is to get to that pleasant little building in the center of the map and then hold it for 3 turns uncontested. That's going to be a rough game for us on the clan side because we don't have any units that are really beefy to sit there. We're going to have to rely on the infantry to tag along and drop off and make themselves at home inside the building while the inner sphere use their superior numbers to otherwise overwhelm our forces. Now, our movement scheme is actually fairly interesting. With a bunch of 5-8 movers, we're not quite fast enough to dictate the range and speed in which we're going to be engaging. I would like to keep the range as far away as possible, but again, that's counterproductive to seizing the building. So we're going to try to play a long-range game just as carefully as we can. In this scenario, we're actually using the sprinting rules. I suggest you take a look at them. It allows a unit to either engage or disengage very quickly, and it doesn't really break the game in any kind of meaningful way. And we start sprinting forward as all the clan units begin trying to close as fast as possible. Again, we want to get kind of close, just drop off the infantry, then back off and skirmish. My buddy Coinflip here, he's alternating a bunch of movements that you can see is he's not sprinting with everything. You can see some units like the Marauder back here. He's not engaging as fast as he could, thinking that he might be able to get some shots, and this is just something that will be rectified with experience, that there's just no way you're going to be making any kind of shot with an inner sphere unit against a clan unit that's running over 20, I think this was like 36 hexes. Yeah, it's not happening. Jade Falcon continues to press their strategy forward, trying to get close, while he moves some of his lighter units up forward. That spider leaping through the heavy woods to try to get as close as he can, and by leaping, it's more like galloping because he decided to run through it, while other units are moving up behind him. Again, we've got like this broken pattern in his formations where some of the units are not being able to support the others. On the right side of the board, you can see the Owens has moved up. He's got the Wraith in the little alcove over there on the other side, marked right here. And the Nova sprints forward, infantry on the side like a bunch of despondent saddlebags. We are lunging that thing just as fast as possible towards the building. We start taking shots as we begin taking a look at the different ranges that we can. And again, this is the second turn in which he's trying to make some shots. But again, this is just something you learn with experience. And my buddy Coinflip he's got quite a few games under him, but he's still working out the nuances. So he tries to take a couple shots, and most of the 2-hit mods are like 12s or 13s. I was sprinting for the most part in this turn, and I have no intention of trying to engage. As we roll into the third turn, I think my buddy has gotten a good grasp on the ranges that he has to be engaging with, and I suggest every time when it comes to Inner Sphere to always get aggressive and group up and then try to single out the clan mechs, because you're always going to have more units than the clan player. And you just need to make the mods just as equal as him, and you'll never do it at range, so just get close. Spam medium lasers. Try to be under about 4 hexes, thereabout, and all the value of the clan weaponry starts falling apart at that range because the armor just doesn't increase. The Nova moves forward, drops off the infantry in a very awkward run pattern, but he's hiding behind the building, so it's fine. He drops off the infantry are going to disembark, and we are collecting a point for holding onto the building because my buddy moves the spider off into the woods, and he's outside the 3 hexes required to claim the building. That works out just barely for us. Mercenary Wraith makes a very interesting decision. Instead of moving forward towards the Nova, which is probably bad, he's leaping over, making a lateral move just to give something else to think. Again, the Wraith is a fantastic unit. It's one of those units that, as a clan player, I'm actually kind of jelly. I mean, it's very, very cheapish for what it does. I mean, the pulse lasers and the jump jets. I mean, just get close and be nasty and enjoy the fact that you're incurring like a +3 mod, if not more, to be shot at while you're doing it at usually just a +1. Marauder 2 continues to try to find shots from way down range, but he manages to not really hit much of anything, if I recall. But in return, I do believe he takes a splashing of LRMs, but it's a Marauder too. It's a much heavier mech than what it looks like, and he shakes it off. This Star League Defense Force mech was found in the inventories of both the Inner Sphere and the clans, and in the Inner Sphere it's used often as a command mech. Can you guess what it is? That's right, it's the Black Knight! And it's one of those interesting units that tells a story with its record sheet. You can tell as time went on, it kept getting repaired with lousier and lousier components until eventually it was just nothing like what the clans were giving to their second line units. Spider moves forward, leaping into the woods, trying to make his presence felt against an entire clan star, just short of it, and he gets the raw end of it in return. He manages to put just a little extra damage on the Mad Cat, and it causes some problems with it, but not the kind of problems the Spider receives, as the Spider is absolutely decimated. We ripped the leg off, we tore through the torso, we end up coring through the entire thing. And the Mad Cat falls, of course. I mean, he just barely got to 20 points and fell over. Can't win them all. My buddy Coinflip starts moving his units forward more aggressively. He now realizes that being a point down, he can't really afford to take these long-range shots, and the Marauder starts running! With 5 hexes to his name. He's still got a lot of range to close with that heavy PPC. His other unit starts swinging around. The Enforcer starts making himself a very potent threat as he decides to walk, realizing that he's within about 10 hexes of a lot of prudent targets. And it forces my initiative track to consider that when I start moving. Bushwhacker moves forward into a skirmish line. He's going to start pressing against that building to do something, but then he decides against it and instead walks into the heavy woods. I mean, there's a lot to be said about being terrified of clan weaponry, but again, he's got more units. So again, the units start swinging around in the back line, trying to make long-range shots. Now, this is the game that as a clan player, you're going to win every time. So I decided to go ahead and, play it up, move around out there. The Nova gets the raw end of it, being so far back into the movement initiative track that I didn't see this coming. He moves the Wraith right in front of him and forces me to do some shenanigans with movement just to get a movement 1 mod, but he really can't move anywhere. But at that range with all those guns, who cares? We're just going to open up on that Wraith. Mercenary Assassin, having seen the glory that the Spider pilot had just earned himself, moves forward in his footsteps for some strange reason. Meanwhile, I don't have a whole lot to respond to, not unlike the previous turn as the Mad Cat tried to get up and failed, and tried to get up again and failed, and ended up doing just short of the amount of damage the enemy did the turn before to himself. Nova opens up with the full firepower of the sparkly radiation that he is exhausting behind him, and hits with only 3 medium lasers. That's really disappointing, causing only a mediocre of damage against the Wraith in front of him. He goes to make his shutdown roll, and he's got like 4 to make, and he fails the first one. Splat, he's going to fall right on over. There's middling damage from the other clan assets, having splashed a little bit on the Assassin and the Wraith, but otherwise it's ineffective fire from just about everyone involved. Mercenaries continue to realize the initiative that they have won themselves and starts pushing forward with all their assets, making it a much more difficult proposition for us to be able to take on. Right now, the beefiest asset that we have that could actually deal with them is the clan infantry that have parked themselves in the building and made themselves quite snug. It is at this point that my opponent, having seen a shut-down mech right in front of him, decides to show a little bit more honor than I ever would, and he opts not to make any kind of threatening gesture at him. Instead, at this turn, he ignores the Nova. Go figure. Mad Cat figures out the button to stand up, and he moves into a threatening position. Again, now the Mad Cat is into an awkward position. I have to be close to help out the infantry, but I don't want to be close because it's a Mad Cat. We're just going to make the best of it. He is now presently having to engage both a Wraith, an Assassin, an Enforcer, and a Bushwhacker all at once, while his 2 supporting assets, the 2 Vultures, are supporting themselves by not being a valuable target. One of the Vultures decide, nah, I'm going to help my buddy out, and takes his Gauss rifles and starts lunging into the back arc of the Wraith. We're going to try to see if we can't get lucky with that with the insane mods. Again, my buddy you know, he's picking it up. I love the Wraith, and the mods are just not going to be in the Vulture C's favor. The other Vulture decides to go ahead and do some fly swatting duties against the Assassin that decided to leap onto the other side of the river because, hey, why not? While the Marauder begins moving up closer. Again, now his to-hit mods are starting to approach 9s and 10s, which that's not good. Through movement shenanigans, we, the clan, have avoided a lot of mercenary fire this turn. So it left a couple units like the Bushwhacker and the Enforcer and the Bushwhacker and the Enforcer. They had nothing better to shoot at this turn. So they start shooting at the building because they want to get rid of the infantry, which is pretty wise. And they do quite a bit of damage to the building. But, I mean, we got 3 hexes of heavy building to move through, so it's going to take a little while. Shots ring off the Vulture, surprisingly overheating it because I am not paying attention to what its heat load is like, and we completely emasculate the Assassin, taking off a couple weapons and stripping the armor nearly completely off it. Vulture C misses with everything, doesn't manage to do anything to the Wraith, while the Mad Cat is stuck trying to figure out what it's going to shoot at first, and decides to shoot at the Bushwhacker again, because, again, why not? We've ripped open its left torso, we're going to do as much damage to that thing as possible, while before we have to deal with that Marauder too when it gets closer. And it's getting closer every turn. Water slows him down a bit, which is, you know, a mild grace. We're going to send the Vulture C to do a little bit of, anti-mech hunting, while the Vulture Prime is just left to kind of hold for his own. I mean, as a support mech, it is just a support mech, like a force multiplier. It's not really a support mech like you would normally think. And he's overheating. He's overheating something serious. At this point, I give the questionable order to tell the Mad Cat to get up close and personal. We know the Nova's going to get up this turn, so we're going to let the Nova get up and do its thing against whatever, because my honorable mercenary opponent was more honorable than I ever will be in that particular situation. Even the Wraith makes a very questionable decision to walk to get behind the Mad Cat. He's going to do a lot of damage to it, but without getting his insane mod to hit, it makes him incredibly vulnerable, but perhaps he's wiser than I, because I am completely overwhelmed at this point. We still have the Assassin, which didn't die. I mean, we just put it into force withdrawal, and he's going to flee. We got the Marauder that's present on us. We got all his other units are still pressing on us, and there's not a whole lot we can do to respond to it. We're going to try to put all the pressure that we can onto that Bushwhacker, and even I moved the Nova up to do as much damage as we can to that Bushwhacker, because we want to put it down, if anything, for morale's sake. The infantry have so far missed every shot they have taken. Their only value is that they're soaking up shots at this point. Twin Vultures hang back and start firing at the Marauder, doing what they can to start softening up for what will be the inevitable clan victory. Wraith opens up on the back torso of the Mad Cat, managing to strip off all the armor on it, but causing no crits. It's kind of bittersweet. Meanwhile, the Marauder 2 opens up on his aggressor. The Vulture Prime manages to hit with the heavy PC. Boom! Right to the head. The Vulture C was, well, aside from some stressed heat sinks, was pretty much okay. Now it is dead. We managed to do no effective return fire against the Marauder 2. It has spent the entire turn this entire game lumbering up to take that one shot. Oh boy. Nova stands in the thick of it. He has to take his shots against both the Bushwhacker and the Owens. Bushwhacker turns around. He's been missing with his autocannon the entire time. Manages to connect. Causes 3 crits into the center torso. And it's engine. And he goes down. Not that he needed the extra help. I mean, he already had an engine hit from the turn prior. And, oh my gosh. Well, he was alpha striking anyway, and in the heat of the moment, I kept saying, oh, Bushwhacker, because again, from this perspective, he's going to hit the left torso, but in the excitement, I end up loading all the shots into the Owens, and wouldn't you know it, only 4 shots hit. That hurts too. But we managed to cause just enough damage for a PSR and strip all the armor on his left arm, which causes a very minor victory, because he ends up falling over, causing an LRM detonation in the Owens left arm, and kills the mech outright. Other assorted fire manages to take down the Enforcer that was trying to play up his presence on the field, but it's just not enough. At this point, we're down 2 mechs, and with the only thing that we have that's really in one piece is the Vulture C, and that's such a mixed bag. Even the infantry was pretty ripped up. So we're actually up 2 points to nothing on this, but it's really all up to headshots at this point, so I concede it to my opponent, take my little petty victory in killing the Owens, and call the game right there. He still had an assault mech that I barely touched. It was just going to be a matter of running the numbers out. This has been an Ouchies Batrep, and thanks for watching. I give him some rough time about, some of his movements, but I can't be that critical when he kicked my butt, so what can you do? Now, if the sound sounds a little odd, the narration was actually recorded on my new headset, a Logitech G633. I actually really adore the headset, but sadly I did not notice that it was recording from its microphone long after I actually did the recording, so, enjoy.
That they BV'd the Nova for?
It's $839 for my Owens.
2,663 for the Nova. I don't think Sparkle Magic is coming back anytime soon. That is way too much.
I can't. It's like he has 12 medium lasers. Every time the thing shoots off medium lasers, he said it sparkles. It's like, oh, I said it sparkles. And now he's gonna put Sparkle Magic.
Oh yeah,
And it's like
it's Sparkle Magic. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of grim.